Hello, everyone. Welcome to this day one of our sprouting series. This is the second time I'm starting this because the internet likes to be tricky like that and it cut me off the first one. That obviously means, in my perspective, that I have really important information to share when the internet does that. So I'm going to start right over from the beginning and give it a go this time. Here we are. So yes, my name is Lori Voss, and I am coming to you to share information specifically today about sprouting. The information where I come from is from traditional Chinese medicine, and that wisdom, specifically, I speak about life force nutrition. So yes, let me know if you're watching this live, say hi, let me know where you're viewing from. I always love to see where the viewers are from all around the world. I am coming to you today from my kitchen in Kaunas, Lithuania. So yes, sprouts. Firstly, we want to talk about why is it important to even eat sprouts. You may have heard about it. You may have heard confusion. I've heard people even speaking about being afraid to start doing sprouts because they're unsure. They've heard also about the opportunity for creating bacteria and having harmful bacteria in the sprouts and it being detrimental for your health, so they don't even touch it at all. I want to help you to understand the simple concept of why you should be eating sprouts and how to actually do it. Over these next 3 days, you will have all the information you need to get sprouting. So today, I'm going to share with you why, firstly, and then I'll get into the equipment that we need. So one of the main reasons that we want to have sprouts in our life is because they are filled with life force nutrition. And this may be a term you've never heard before if you're just new to watching me. Life force nutrition is specifically talking about foods that can provide life force. Okay. And to break that down a little bit more, if you think about a seed that starts to sprout, it is specifically going to give you that opportunity to produce new life if you plant that in the earth. And that is why it is one of the top foods for life force nutrition, because it essentially is like still growing, right? It's that when we are doing sprouting, we have the little sprouts in our kitchen, and they are essentially, like I say, they're still alive. They have that ability to still grow if, like I say, we would put them out into the earth. So that is the beautiful food that nourishes our body. It's still alive. It's providing healing. It's providing that life force energy. It has that yang energy, yin and yang energy I often talk about as well. And the yang energy is that fire, the heat, the warmth. That's something alive. When something is dead, it's cold, right? So we want to have that warmth within us. And having sprouts in our diet on a daily basis is really helpful for healing, for prevention, for maintenance, for basically everything, because it is so powerful, these little guys. And we can learn how to sprout pretty much all kinds of seeds, nuts, legumes, and whole grains as well. All of them can follow the protocol that we will go over tomorrow, which day 2, I will be sharing with you the actual protocol of how to manage your sprouting and how to do it. I will be showing you a demo in here. So now, some of the different equipment. Oh, before I go any farther, if you have any questions while I'm doing the live, feel free to type them in the comments. If I don't see it while we are going, I will wrap back around and let you know. And if you feel like you'd rather send me a private message, I'm open to that as well. And like I say, if you have any questions that come up around this topic, let me know, because we need to get rid of the noise of the marketing industry out there that so often sidetracks us. Like I had mentioned many times in the past about the nutrition marketing diet industry, how it's continuously giving us different superfoods, diet foods, eat this, eat that. Did you ever have this? You know, all of a sudden one is good for us, the next time it's bad for us. We want to shut that noise out, get it out of here, and focus on simple nutrition that provides our body for everything that we need. And sprouts is one of those things. And because of the protocol that we use for making sprouts, like I say, we'll go over that tomorrow, this is providing those sprouts with amazing bioavailability for our gut. So it means we can digest it easily. The enzymes are there. Everything is beautifully set up for it to nourish us. So definitely we want to eat foods that contain life force. And like I say, life force is something that especially sprouts are having the ability to produce new life. Of course, we can have life force if we think of something like if you have a basil plant, right? Herb growing in your kitchen, and you take off when it's still on the plant itself, there's full life force in there. As soon as we take off a leaf, we are taking it from the life source, the actual plant, right? So that leaf, yeah, the leaf is still technically alive, but the longer it sits off of the mother plant, the less and less life force it has. So we really want to think about eating things as fresh as possible. And that's why something like sprouts are so amazing for us, because when they are still in eating condition, they are so fresh and so available for our digestion to take on and for our health in general. Yes, I see, Karen, you're here again. Thank you for returning. You know, technology likes to always play around. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, I really find that when we are here sharing really potent, powerful information, it's not uncommon for the internet to say, oh, this is the energy is too strong, and they shut us down. I've seen it too many times already, so we just got to go with the flow. So here I am, anyways, sharing the information with you. So that is the main reasons why we want to think about sprouting, what I just shared with you. And now I want to share with you what is the equipment that you would need to start sprouting. So from the beginning, you're going to need your seeds, which you can buy usually specific seeds that are for sprouting. So this one here is alfalfa. I bought it at our local market the other week. But you can, I also saw some of sprouts like this in also a local shop that we have here. If you are local, this was from Depot. I bought a couple different ones actually. I have chicory, radish, and it says on there specific for sprouting. These are not ones for growing, so usually there is a difference. I also have here Chinese cabbage and beetroot. This color, oh my God, I'm just fascinated with that. I've never made these before. This is new for me. These specific sprouting seeds I've never done, but that's where we can get creative and see what's available to you and have that flexibility for what you want to grow. Here I also have a mung bean. This one is really easy to start. I like this as a nice starter for people that have never done sprouting before. It's super easy. It sprouts easy, all of it, and I think it tastes good as well. It's a simple, easy taste. You can also cook it. You can eat it raw. Basically all sprouts can be eaten raw or cooked, but like I say, we'll talk about that on day 3. Don't want to go too far. I also have this package here, but it's almost empty, of radish sprouts. So yeah, they come in different forms, different packages from different sellers. You want to find your sprouts first of all, right? The ones that you want to use. If you are going with like these packages I showed you here, it says specifically on there microgreens. Microgreens require different equipment than something like these mung beans, because these mung beans are much bigger than what these little seeds are going to be in here. They grow differently. So that's going to be a little bit of a difference. Now, when we start, so like I say, number one, I'm just going to turn my camera here slightly. So when you are thinking to start sprouting, first you have to purchase your sprouts, your seeds, sorry, pardon me, the seeds, whatever kind of seeds you want to work on, okay? Then, depending on the size of the seeds that you have, will determine your next step or the next type of equipment you have. The tinier the seeds, I like to use either a kind of, this is like just a organic cloth bag. Can be shopping, like they use these ones for like reusable grocery purchases, or also nut milk bags, like that kind of thing. Something like this. Or I use often a strainer, a metal strainer like this. But even the tiniest seeds that I have, like alfalfa ones or different ones, they tend to fall through the strainer. Or even if like not all of them do, but 20% of my seeds I'm going to lose in the strainer, I would rather use a bag. And the reason I tell you about these ones is because what we'll learn more tomorrow about is you have to soak the seeds first. So this is the next part of the equipment that you're going to need. Something for straining, and I always recommend stainless steel. It's better than plastic. So stainless steel strainers. I have different sizes because I do sometimes really big batches, not necessarily just sprouting like these microgreens or in the sprouting trays that I'll show you right away, but sometimes we get a little bit bigger depending on what you want to do. And then we're going to need some bowls. Again, if you're just doing a couple sprouts for your sprouting tray, you could just use a small bowl. These are bigger ones that I have when I do my breakfast, for example, but I also can sprout my breakfast. Doesn't mean that I only sprout mung beans and alfalfa or broccoli, for example. I also sprout my buckwheat or quinoa, these kinds of things. So then I have a bigger bowl for soaking. And also this one, even when I'll do a batch of feijão or Brazilian beans that you may have seen me do before, that's where I use the bigger bowl. So you'll need something. You need your seeds. You need something for rinsing them and something to soak them in. Okay, that's a basic already. Once they are done soaking, then we're going to need to put the seeds into something where they're going to be able to start to grow. And that, there's some different options. So there's these different seed trays. I personally really love these. It also has, I have here one that's already started with some seeds in there, but there's 4 trays. Generally, that's a pretty common number, and it has a lid on the top there. These trays, I love them, but I also found ways to enjoy them better than actually the way that it's written on the box. And I can go into that a little bit more tomorrow, but some of these trays, you'll see they have a little bit of a ledge, kind of hard to say. It's like almost like it comes up here a little bit and the water can drain through there. There's little like ridges in the bottom of the tray. I don't like using small seeds like alfalfa, for example, in these trays because the seeds get stuck in the grooves of the trays, and then you have an opportunity for bacteria to grow or for mold to start. And also the way that it's described to use these trays is that you would just pour a cup of water, for example, on the top tray, and then it would drain through this tray, it drains through this little hole, goes through the next tray, drains through there, and it ends up in the bottom. But what I don't like is, like I say, sometimes seeds, even if I'm using mung beans, for example, sometimes the tail, once it starts to grow, the tail gets stuck in these little ridges, and just allowing the water to run through in its own pace doesn't release those sticky patches, therefore causing bacteria and potential mold growth and wrecking your whole tray of sprouts. So I don't recommend that. Like I say, I will show you tomorrow how a better method that I found, but these trays are still amazing to use because you can manage to use them in a way that really have like probably less than 1% I'm losing out of a whole year worth of making sprouts that I would throw at a tray, probably 1%, because it's almost like a foolproof method when I show you tomorrow how to do it. So stackable trays are really good. If you are viewing this locally, I did see some trays as well in Depot. They had some sprouting trays there. I was quite surprised to see them. But otherwise, usually health food stores carry them, is quite common. And of course, you can always find them on Amazon and sites like this as well. Stackable trays like this, usually 15 to 20 euros, for example, maybe. Yeah, we'll just go with euros. I don't want to think about converting to other currencies at the moment. So we have soaking, we have the sprouting trays. Now, if you are doing, for example, a bigger batch, like say if you wanted to think about sprouting quinoa, and it's not like just, you don't want to just put it in here, for example, you want to use that quinoa to eat for breakfast tomorrow or something like that. You would soak it overnight, do that, and then instead of putting it into that tray like that, I have these glass containers. So these are also useful to have for your sprouting. After doing my rinsing and everything, I would lay it out in a tray like this and just cover it lightly. It doesn't need to be sealed, put it off on the side, and then I do the protocol, which I'll go over tomorrow. But this kind of tray is good, and I always go for glass because plastic, unfortunately, has toxic chemicals in there that we don't want to have in our bodies. So always go for glass if you can, that's better. So a nice tray like that. You can also get like this square cake baking Pyrex trays as well. Those ones are good too. They're really convenient. Like I say, especially if you're doing different sprouting at different times, you might not have enough space for everything in these trays as well. Again, depending on what you want to sprout. When I'm making something like, excuse me, my Brazilian bean dish, feijão, I do sprout the beans before I make them. So that's when I would use something like this, because they need a day or two usually to start sprouting. And I would put them in here because certainly the amount of beans that I could fit in here is not enough for when I'm cooking a big batch of beans. So that's another thing you would need or could need, like I say, if you're getting into the habit of how you can use sprouts and what you can do with them. And now I spoke also about the microgreens. That was these different little seeds here. And you can see even like, for example, in the bottom of this picture, like it shows a different kind of base on there. Yeah, the other one's not so much. This one it does a little bit as well. Like you can see there's an actual like a soil kind of bottom. So yes, some microgreens, some different seeds do prefer to grow from the soil and they do better in that way. So this is where you can kind of play around a little bit. Here currently I had these plastic trays that I was reusing actually from takeout, and I got soil from my garden outside. I did this 2 days ago, Friday morning. Now it's Sunday. It was Friday morning for me. I put on here, you can see them, is these beautiful red beet seeds. You probably cannot see from there, but there is a few patches now, just 2 days in, that there's a couple little white tails coming out and starting to reach for the soil. I'm really excited to see. I hope this can provide us with a little bit more visual before the sprouting series is done. Excuse me. I also have in this one, similar, same concept, but I put in this other one that was open, which is Chinese cabbage. And I put these little sprouts in there. Sorry, I just have to wipe my nose a little bit. I feel like the allergies are just making me have a little bit of a nasal drip here. But anyway, that's besides the point. This little one, you can see there's some little white kind of pieces in there. Those are the little tails starting to come out of this Chinese cabbage. And on the back of these packages, usually with most sprouting, it says how long it takes. It gives you also a general description. Like for this one, it even shows a pictograph, you know, how to do it. So it's easy to follow if you do forget the instructions that I'm saying. And it says like if you should soak it or if it's not necessary, and it'll say like, you know, should see sprouts within 2 to 3 days, and you can eat it with 5 to 7 days, something like this, right? So yes, you can have some different containers, reusable containers. If you're using, of course, like a cardboard, this one has it's a leak proof, so it's okay. You want to make sure that kind of thing. You could also use old container from, you know, I like to reuse stuff in this case where you're doing some sprouting. It's possible that you're using the soil. You can also reuse different, like even for example, if you bought tomatoes at the supermarket and it came in a plastic, has a plastic bottom, you could reuse something like that to put the soil in. Again, not really a fan of plastic, but we can reuse it sometimes in certain situations. It's possible. But I just like to tuck my hair away here. There is also specific trays that you can buy that are for growing microgreens. Unfortunately, I don't have one here with me in my kitchen. It's in my other kitchen. But yeah, it's a tray. It's about this big. There's different sizes, of course. And in there, there's a bottom tray. And then there's another tray that sits on top of there. And then you sprinkle the seeds on that top tray and just spray them with water. So also a spray bottle can be another piece of equipment that is useful for starting to do your sprouts. Again, depends on which kind of sprouts you want to do. In this case of a microgreen one, you'd have the spray bottle, spray those seeds twice a day, usually morning and evening. The water drips through because it has that, it has little holes on there. The water drips through, and within a couple days, the roots start to grow down through those little holes, and your beautiful little microgreens start to grow up, and then you can start to cut them off and eat them. So there is different ways of doing sprouts, many. Before I leave you today, because we're just about at the end, I just wanted to say that if you are already sprouting or if you're thinking to start sprouting, it is important to have the proper equipment. I have seen some videos online before of people promoting growing sprouts out of a milk carton, and not with soil, just having, for example, an old milk carton or an old juice carton. like a liter jug or a 2 liter jug kind of thing, and putting the sprouts in there and doing this. I don't even know the protocol. I didn't follow everything. But for me, this is a big no. I do not recommend this at all. If you have been practicing it, please stop, because there is just way too many opportunities for bacteria to grow in that space. Did you put, like, is that milk container really sterile? Is your the juice container, is it really clean? Is it really going to be bacteria free? For me, there's just too much opportunity for contamination, and that's where we get mixed up. And people down the road, they consumed some sprouts and then they said, oh yeah, but I got sick from this and that. And it's like, yeah, but were you really doing the proper protocol first? Because doing sprouts is important, that we are keeping our hands clean when we're working with them. The equipment that we work with must also be clean throughout the process, from when we first start to rinse the seeds. It's not as important, but as soon as we start to soak the seeds, it's not as important. But as soon as we rinse those seeds, which I'll talk to you tomorrow more about, we must have diligence on keeping the workspace clean, or you are providing an opportunity for contamination, and that is what we want to avoid. Okay, so it's not that difficult, but again, that's where I'm getting you to shut out that noise of all these easy peasy things. What I'm showing you today is not difficult. It's inexpensive, totally doable. And if you do it the proper way, you're going to also have clean, healthy sprouts to eat without any worries. So before I say goodbye, excuse me, I think I covered everything I wanted to cover with you today. We talked about why you should be eating sprouts, talked about the different materials that you would need for starting sprouting. You don't need to purchase everything at once, because I'm pretty sure you're not going to do everything at once. So just step by step. Personally, I think these trays are a great first step. Super easy, affordable, convenient, and it produces, right? But if you don't feel like making that kind of purchase, even if you have a reusable container or a container that you're ready to throw out anyway, something like that, and a little bit of soil, you can also go this way as well. And again, super easy, cheap, and doable. So I believe that's everything I had for you today. If you have any questions, like I say, feel free to put them in the comments section, because chances are, if you have a question, someone else probably does as well. So it helps other people. And if for whatever reason you don't feel comfortable writing it in the comments, definitely reach out to me, send me a message, and I will answer the question to you. And if I feel like it's relevant, maybe in the group as well. Sending you all the best. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow for day 2. And on day 2, I will be specifically giving you the protocol of what to do once you have your equipment. What do you do with it? Yes. Looking forward to it. Take care and see you tomorrow. Bye for now.